Hey everyone, welcome to another video from Psyched About Life. This video is about effective communication. Why am I making a video about effective communication? Well, what I'm doing right now is, I hope, effective.
Yeah, please.
It's just something that could be useful in your everyday life or in your psych field. So this channel, I changed the name from Psyched About Psych to Psyched About Life because psych is life. Yeah, you got it. So let's get on with the video. Okay, so effective communication consists of, but is not limited to, active listening, clarity and consciousness, conciseness.
And you're just like, what?
Body language, empathy, open-ended questions, feedback, and mindfulness. And of course, there are going to be other side things that kind of, like I've mentioned before in my other videos, a tree, and then there's like little branches that branch off into their own kind of domains. But let's start off with active listening. So active listening is really just a form of being present, okay? And like kind of like how, let's say in class, the teacher's like, I know you're not listening to me, I know you're not paying attention. Well, you want to avoid that, okay? You want to be very attentive and like show that you're listening, okay? You want to give your full attention. You want to avoid interruptions. This may be hard for people that feel like they need to talk about themselves in order to relate to the situation, or they feel like they always need to relate to be friendly, but that may not be the case for everyone. And you have to be mindful of everyone's differences and how they communicate and how they feel about interruptions, and also like how close you are. If you're close with the person, don't worry about it, unless you know that your friend is going to get annoyed. A lot of what it has to deal with is body language, and that's also going to be another branch of effective communication. Okay, next we have clarity and, I'll say it right this time, conciseness. So it's really helpful to be clear with your words, to be clear with the way that you deliver your point. So, for example, if I talk in like circles, or if I don't really state exactly what I'm trying to get at, the point that I'm trying to make, the person may be so confused and take back nothing with them. They won't even know what to make out of anything because it was all over the place. It went, like when you're so overwhelmed, you kind of go into different directions, or you can't stay on one topic for too long. Like, it's really good to just be clear. Use simple language, organize your thoughts prior. This may be hard for people that are just quick to like jump in with a response, or they feel like they need to constantly talk. It's okay to take a step back and be like, you know what, I'll get back to you, instead of giving them an answer that maybe you'll regret later, or maybe you weren't 100% sure about it. And this could apply to your grad school, this could apply to your job, that we're always quick to like want to give an answer. Meanwhile, like sometimes they say the smart people are silent. Like, it's best to like be 100% sure before telling anyone, even if it's informal. Okay, next but not least, we have body language. Now, this was kind of a part of active listening, and honestly it falls in all these categories, but body language is very important, okay? So right now I'm talking to you, my shoulders are like clear, and that's like also very symbolic because they say if you cross your arms, that means that you're not open to anything and you're very closed off. So sometimes it's good to just like look a little relaxed, give eye contact, maybe not too much. You have to be mindful of like the person's comfort zone, or like how close you are with the person. Some people may not like a lot of eye contact, so be mindful if they seem like they're like making faces or they're looking away. Give 50-50 eye contact, or full, honestly, like it's fine. Give full eye contact. Facing the person when they speak. Sometimes leaning forward shows that you're very engaged and you want to know more. So gestures too. Sometimes people do better when you're like bringing it together, like it's like a visual. So it's like, or you saying more, or whatever. Use appropriate facial expressions. That's pretty straightforward. Next, we have empathy. So, you know when you're talking to someone and you just don't feel like they're being genuine, or they just don't really show any remorse or really seem like they understand where you're coming from? Well, that's not really effective. We want to be different than that. We want to be opposite. We want to show that we can acknowledge a person's feelings and emotions. We want to respond with compassion, like, oh my God, like I can't even imagine what that must have been like for you. Like that's this emotion, that's that emotion. Okay, next, open-ended questions. This is very important, and this is something that we emphasize in social skills groups, or when teaching social skills in like either ABA or in like a general ed classroom. More open-ended is kind of like asking a question that's going to give more like, how do you mean? What do you mean? Oh, how did that make you feel? Instead of like a yes or no question, ask more in-depth questions. Promote meaningful discussions. Okay. So that's really what that means. Feedback, so it's really good to give constructive feedback, right? We're not criticizing, we are giving feedback that will make that person develop further.
And I was like, excuse me?
Any feedback that's really not necessary, it's best to leave behind your mouth. Like, don't let it out. You want to stay present. And honestly, staying present and being mindful is kind of within each other, because if you're thinking about something else while the person's talking to you, number one, you don't look engaged and you don't look like you're even listening. And number two, you may not even know what they're saying. Okay? And this is terrible for that relationship. Especially if you don't know the person. They're not going to want to talk to you again. Like, that could be the worst scenario, but believe me, you want it to end on a positive note. So you want to show that you're engaged. You want to show that you're mindful. You want to pay attention to how they're feeling. You want to put yourself in those shoes. And you want to make sure that you're not causing any negative feelings. You're not causing any misunderstandings, because a lot of the time, and this is why I hate text, things get misinterpreted. Body language could get misinterpreted. Not being aware of what they're saying and then misinterpreting it can cause problems. So it's really good to just be mindful, present, and in the moment. And honestly, all those things fall into the same realm of effective communication. So why am I talking about effective communication?
Why?
Effective communication is not only significant at work, but it's also significant in our day-to-day lives and our home environment. Okay? So what that means is like how we speak to our parents, how we speak to our children, how we speak to our siblings, our grandparents, our friends. Like, if we don't show any of those branches, like I mentioned on the tree of effective communication, we really could be causing some sort of misunderstanding, argument. It may lead to something else that we don't want to happen. So it's good to stay clear, concise, give feedback, show empathy, be an active listener, be present, be mindful, because that will really flourish your relationships. That will bring prosperity. The one thing in anyone's life that should be their goal is to foster positive relationships with anyone. It doesn't have to be a relationship in like a romantic way. It could be with friends, family, and whatever the case may be. So just, that is my effective communication speech to you. Take what resonates, take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, okay? And then the next video I'm thinking of doing is like in the realm of emotional intelligence, because emotional intelligence also is a key point to mention in communication. Alright, so just stay tuned for more videos. I promise I won't be slacking, and thank you all for watching my video. Peace out.